How do you think the next generation of wealth will be made? Why do you pay so much for a gym membership here? Can you tell me about a specific time that you failed while building this business? Could you share how much revenue the company generates by any chance?
Over 100 million.
Oh, wow. Welcome to Equinox, one of the most expensive gyms in America. Now, I'm always wondering, what do the people that work out here do for a living to be able to afford it? So today, we're going inside, we're investigating, we're asking people the tough questions. Let's go find out. What's your name, age, and what do you do for a living?
Ted Learaka, 70 plus, and I do mortgage loans. Been doing mortgage loans since 1980.
Why do you pay so much for a gym membership here?
Let me answer that question by saying this. When you gas up your car, do you put the cheapest gas or the gas that's going to let you run your car for 10, 15, 20 years? I buy the most expensive gas, which is Equinox. You get what you pay for. The investment you make in your own body rewards yourself when you hit my age.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever heard, and how did you implement it into your career?
If you work hard and you stay the course and you don't let the defeats or the lack of traction affect your ability to keep working, eventually it will click. There was a period of time for the first 4 or 5 years in the mortgage business, it's like, okay, they don't dig me. I'm not getting business. This is maybe not my gig. And then all of a sudden, it just clicked. And then it skyrocketed.
What do you think changed in that moment that made it click?
Nothing. I think it was all the hard work. You know, it's like farming. You know, you throw the seeds down and you don't see corn the next day. You see corn, down the road. Trust that if you're doing it right, you're doing the right job, you're keeping your integrity, your morals, your ethics in line, you're going to have that moment where it seems like it's a flick of a switch where you go, whoa, what did I just do? All of a sudden I'm a popular dude. No, it wasn't all of a sudden. I was throwing the seeds for a long time.
Do you have any lasting final piece of advice for someone that just started their career, wants to get out there, they're hungry?
Yeah, just work hard. Work hard, do the right thing always, and you will be amazed with the results.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
I appreciate you interviewing a 70-year-old.
I'm Adam, I'm 42, and I buy companies.
How did you get into that?
I started as a management consultant, and then I realized that management consultants don't know how to do anything. And so 8 years ago, I had a mentor who said, you have to be able to do more than just the consulting part, picking corporate strategies, trying to figure out what a company should do and how they change from where they currently are to what they want to be in the future.
And what do you think are some common missteps that young people make when they're trying to pursue a similar career?
I think a lot of people try to be on the career track, right? There's very, very straightforward, if I do this for 2 years and then I go to business school and then I do another thing for 2 years, that results in a specific outcome. And I think the best advice that I ever got is that careers are not straight up and to the right. They don't follow a very linear trajectory. It's kind of like sailing a ship. When you sail a traditional sailing ship, you have to tack back and forth to catch the best wind. And I think you have to do that in your career. Sometimes you're going to zig and zag in directions that may not be super linear and super straightforward, but I actually think that's how people make interesting careers. I think it's how you pick up interesting skills that not a lot of people out there have.
Do you have any lasting advice if someone is excited by your story, they want to get started?
Pick interesting things that you can probably be good at. Figuring out what you're going to be good at. It's a process of learning what you don't like and learning what you're not good at. And as soon as you realize that something's not working, go towards the thing that you feel compelled to do, that you feel you're going to be good at, and that you're getting early signs yeah, I'm actually I'm good at this thing.
My name's Fernando. I'm 30 years old and I'm a software engineer.
And how did you get into software engineering?
Ever since I was a kid, I love computers. I would always dabble with them. So I knew growing up I'd do something with computers. I ended up studying applied math at UCLA. Towards the end of my career at UCLA, I wanted to get into marketing. Started going down digital marketing rabbit hole, trying to build an agency. That was a big thing. So I taught myself how to make websites, thinking I'd make it for small businesses. I kind of rekindled my fire for programming.
And if someone is on the career track of trying to become a software engineer, what are some the most common missteps or pitfalls you see people making?
Just doing courses, course, never building something on your own. Just go build something, dude. Most common thing is a to-do list app. Build it. You're going to learn a lot of mistakes. You can Google it. Now you can ChatGPT it. It'll show you how to do it. Don't mindlessly follow a course. Just apply yourself.
Is there any philosophy that you live your life by?
Scared money don't make money. I feel a lot of people are scared to invest in things like courses, nicer things that just kind of get you out in the world. Even going on a trip, if you're not going to spend your money for these things that kind of propel you to the next step in your life, despite there being a chance for failure, you're really not going to get that far.
What characteristic trait that you have do you think is what makes you successful?
I'm just willing to go for it. If you have an idea, pursue it. If it falls on its face, well, screw it, So on to the next one.
I love that advice. Thank you, man. I appreciate
no problem.
Appreciate the time. What's your name, age, and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, my name is Nadir. I'm a skin restoration specialist over here in Newport Beach, California.
And what's a skin restoration specialist do?
So I really am niche in just a few things. I do mostly scars, I do pigmentation, I do a lot with facial balancing.
And so do you run your own practice now?
I do, yeah.
And if you wouldn't mind me asking, how much money does that kind of business generate?
Probably 7 figures or so.
As you were on the track of running that business, what are some common missteps that people people might make if they're trying to do something similar?
People kind of think that they could do it on the side. It's like a side hustle. It's like, 1,000% commitment, really. Like, essentially, I'm just like constantly thinking about ways to build it and get better at every single thing I do. It's like, there's no way of doing this if it's kind of like just like on the side type of thing.
A lot of people will say that you need to kind of like incubate your startup on the side while you're working at a 9 to 5. What's your take on that? Do you think just burn the boats, go all in on it?
I mean, it depends on what your level of privilege is. It depends on what your upbringing is. I ended up basically after residency just working for a couple of years just to be able to make enough money to be able to do that. I worked at hospitals just to be able to get some capital, and then I was able to go full throttle into my business. And yeah, I did just burn boats then. I was just like, this is it. I'm going to do this 100%. There's nothing behind me. I'm just going to do this.
Can you tell me about a specific time that you failed while building this business and what you learned from it?
I mean, I failed a ton. Basically, a lot of times it would be like because I wasn't directly involved in the decision-making process, I sort of trusted real estate agents or attorneys, things like that. One of the biggest things is to find other people that could do it the way you do it, that are kind of like really focused at what they do. So a lot of times within the hiring process, I sort of test out how people feel with that process and how they are with their logical skills and if they're able to get to that level that I need them to be.
Can you give maybe an example of one of those questions you ask people?
When I'm talking to an applicant, I'll decide why they're trying to go into this field. And if they kind of go and like say that they didn't really put too much thought into it, that's like already an immediate red flag. If they are talking about it and they're sort of lying about the reasons why they want to do it, that's another red flag. If they're just saying that they want to grow, it's like, well, why couldn't you grow in your previous job? It's kind of unclear to me why you were unable to grow. But if they kind of say, if I have a lot of cool ideas, I'm like, okay, what was your idea with your previous job? And then they actually did think about something that they could have optimized and it wasn't used in the previous job. And now I can see that this is a person I kind of want to have on board.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you for your time, man. What's your name, age, and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, good to meet you, Mark. My name is Tyler. I work in e-commerce. I'm an options trader on the side. I was one of 4 original people at a fashion startup. The company's grown to over 100 people now.
What's the name of this company?
It's called Z Supply. Women's comfortable basics. We have an activewear line.
Could you share how much revenue the company generates by any chance?
Over 100 million.
Oh, wow. And you mentioned you're also doing some options trading on the side. Tell me a little bit about your options trading strategy.
Yeah. So options trading, definitely not for the faint of heart. I've paid the market tuition and kind of learned the hard way. I would recommend for anyone getting started to begin with paper trading. I basically learned everything I know from watching YouTube videos. Channels like SMB Capital and Tasty Live, those guys really taught me how to trade options. And I was just looking for another source of income. I have a great career right now, but nothing's guaranteed. I want to have a backup plan. So that was something where I could really be independent. My goal ultimately would be to retire on that. I could travel the world, trade from anywhere. It's extremely stressful, so it's like almost not worth it, but it's profitable if you do it right.
Could you possibly share what the best trade you ever made was and how much money you made from it?
The best and worst trades that I've made are probably both Tesla. I've made some good trades on TSLL, the 2x leverage Tesla ETF. Some of the most profitable trades have been when I noticed a breakout above a prior resistance level, and I went in with some long call options. A leap call option on a 2x leverage ETF is giving you something like 10x leverage. So I was able to make 60-80% profit in a couple of days there.
How do you think the next generation of wealth will be made? A lot of people are talking about AI right now. What do you think kind of the next hot thing is?
AI is huge. Yeah, I can see it replacing a lot of jobs already. I just developed an iOS app in probably less than 1 week from zero to having it ready to go in the App Store, all using Cursor. It's like having an AI robot sitting there coding for you, and if you know how to prompt it correctly, basically does all of the heavy lifting. I think it's going to be real concerning for a lot of people who don't have those kind of tech skills.
What's sort of like a philosophy that you live your life by?
I'm never satisfied with where I'm at. I'm always trying to be better. I'm always trying to push myself to be more disciplined, just trying to do the right thing day in and day out. Some days I get it, some days I don't.
Do you have any lasting final advice for someone who's about to enter their career, they're hungry, they want to make a name for themselves? What would you tell them?
Get started early. I wasted years and years. I had kind of a crazy past. I did a lot of partying, messing around, going out, well into my 20s. I think where I was at age 35, I probably could have been at age 25 if I had just gotten my act together. So I learned a lot of things the hard way, and I had to hit rock bottom before I pulled myself up, years later than I should have.
My name's Brandon. I'm actually 40 years old. For a living, I'm a personal trainer, online trainer. I work with clients around the world, social media mainly.
What are some of like your social media hacks or advice to get in front of more people to get more clients?
I'm all about authenticity and just being genuine. When you put content out that reflects who you are and what you believe in, the right people come to you. And so it'll just be a very authentic, organic way of posting. I think you just have to be yourself and just try different content. If you have something that sets you apart and makes you different, don't be afraid to share that. Don't be ashamed of that. Like, be yourself. Show the world who you are and what you're all about.
What's kind of like a life philosophy that you live by?
This is one of my favorite quotes. You can't expect both ends of the sugar cane to be as sweet. You know, it's give and take. It's balance. A lot of people want it all, but you have to be willing to give up some things in order to achieve other things. You know, good things take time.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you for your time. That was great.